Hey, this is Mark from boatsandbikes.com, and today we're getting a sneak peek at the Riot Edge 14.5 Mini Tourer. So, Riot boats have been one of my favorites for a few years, but recently they fell on hard financial times, and they got a reputation for being unresponsive to customers and dealers. Today, they're under new management, and that company is driving hard to regain Riot's reputation. The good thing is that throughout all of this, the boats have really remained true to their goal. Great performance boats, well-spec'd, and at a good price. And that just about sums up this 14.5 Edge. We're looking at a performance day or weekend tourer with two oval hatches, a padded adjustable seat, and a stock rudder. There's deck lines and bungees aplenty, and Riot adds some really nice touches, including a drain plug in the stern, but also one brilliantly placed on the side of the cockpit. The hull's narrow for a 14-footer, running only about 22 inches as compared to most in this category, which would run 24. But Riot keeps the 14.5 Edge from feeling tippy by using a hard chine hull, whereby they use a sharp transition between the bottom of the hull and the sides. And that creates a lot of surface area for the relative narrow width, and it also allows a paddler more control when turning with a lean or edging. There's also a center spine, which lends some stiffness and directional stability. You see here a moderate entry bow and a modest keel to maximize the shorter water line of this boat. Now, she is only 14.6 long, 22 wide, but she has a capacity of 325 pounds. So a smaller volume boat, but still plenty of room. The boat seems to handle well, but there are some cut corners. Things like a rudder that is made out of nylon instead of metal. It all works fine, though, and it doesn't really seem to compromise performance one bit. I also found that the seat had plenty of adjustment to get comfortable in, although I wasn't really a fan of the high seat back. I really prefer more of a low back band style. Of course, that's just my preference, and your own personal preference may vary. I know a lot of people do prefer a higher seat back for the added support. So, how did she perform? Well, for starters, I had no problem fitting my 5'10" frame into this boat with plenty of knee room, lots of leg room left over. So if you're a little bit taller, that would work just fine. The padded knee braces and seat were easy to adjust, and I suspect would work for bigger and smaller paddlers. Now, she's a low-volume boat, and she felt well planted and quite stable despite a narrower beam. Now, even though the rudder worked well, mine was not adjusted to go all the way down. It was an easy fix, though. Being a shorter boat, the speed lacked just a little bit for me since I'm used to a longer water line, but the boat was certainly adequate as far as speed goes for club trips, for going out on tours, and really you'd have no problem keeping up with all but the biggest of the big dogs. Now, with the rudder down, she was direct and easy to turn. But even with the rudder up, she made a nice balance for directness and turning, and it was really kind of fun throwing the little craft up on edge. Now, keep in mind that this is a boat that is selling for $1,000 and less on the internet right now. So coming in well less expensive than most of the competition, and in many ways it's the perfect craft for most people. Long enough, but still narrow enough. It is stable enough to keep people confident, but fast enough that you won't outgrow it. Has plenty of carrying capacity for a day or two, adjustable to fit most size people in a range, and cheap enough to fit most budgets. So the Riot 14.5 really brings performance so people won't outgrow the craft, but it's still not too frustrating to learn. Favorite parts? The price, nicely detailed. It's well outfitted with a rudder stock. Has a nice hard chine hull with a spine. Of course, I'm a fan of that. It is low volume, it's narrow, but it is stable, and in many ways it's the people's boat. It offers an awful lot to most folks. Things I didn't love, they had to cut corners somewhere to keep the price in line, and I suspect it was with that nylon rudder. Don't know that it's a problem, but it is definitely a cut corner. And I also didn't love the high seat back and the softer flex of it. You might. But thanks so much for listening, and happy paddling.